Welcome to Revenue Growth Live with Daryl Amy. You're about to join an interactive forum where business executives, sales professionals, and marketing leaders share ideas to accelerate growth. While you are here, make sure to like or subscribe to get notifications for future episodes. You're encouraged to get involved in today's live conversation by liking and commenting. Now, let's join Daryl Amy for fresh ideas and innovative strategies to help you grow your business faster.
Good morning, Daryl Amy here. We have got a phenomenal session today. I'm here with my friend Javon Wooden from the $1 Million Marketing Summit and Live Not Loathe, all the way down in Houston, Texas. What's going on, Javon?
Man, a whole lot. I cannot wait to get into this conversation, Daryl. Thanks for having me, man.
We are going to have a good time. Thank you to everybody who's joining us live and everyone who's watching later. Today, we want to bust some myths. We've seen the show on TV, Mythbusters, right? So we're here. We're going to bust some myths about ideal clients and talk about what we got wrong, what we get wrong about ideal clients, and then flip it to 3 ways they create a revenue flywheel. And Javon, when you think about ideal clients, I mean, this is like the lifeblood of business growth and acceleration. But sometimes, you know, I think we've got some things maybe we've picked up along the way that we need to dispel a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, we hear some things all the time consistently, especially when you're B2B, right? About ideal clients and how, you know, you got to catch all these people and all this other stuff. So I'm glad we're doing this show there.
Yeah, we're going to have a fantastic time here. Once again, welcome everyone that's coming in on this. And we really want to think about this whole thing. So we're going to just throw it out there. Myth number 1 is this. Myth number 1 is that my ideal client is my largest client. And that's just not necessarily true. In fact, it may be true, and it may be true, but the reality that I've seen in a lot of businesses is your largest client is actually not your ideal client, because if you think about the definition of an ideal client, there's someone that needs everything that you sell. They value your input and advice, and there's a cultural fit. So they're going to stick around. And Javon, I've seen a lot of examples where we got this major account, this whale of a client, they're only buying one thing from us. And really, there's not a hope that they'll buy anything else.
Yeah, I see that all the time. You know, you get that big deal and you're like, yes, I got it.
Right.
Then, you know, it's like one and done. And, you know, they're like, oh, you know what? We'll try to do this in-house or something like that, because they're so large. They think they can take it on once they learn. And it's just like, okay, that was pointless. You took all this time from me, you know, and it just doesn't work well. Whereas an ideal client, you know, they'll come in, they'll start off at the lower level if they can't quite get your big tier ticket. And then they'll just flow with you along your whole value ladder, right? Because like you said,
that's right.
You need exactly everything you have.
Well, and that's what's exciting to me about an ideal client is someone that needs everything that you sell. And so what that allows us to do is it allows us to create a flywheel of revenue growth. And Jim Collins, the great Jim Collins, talks about the flywheel. Every business has a flywheel. And when I think about the flywheel, what I get fired up about when it comes to ideal clients is I can bring them in net new, but I can also grow that account with cross-sell into additional products and services. And this is the foundation of the revenue growth engine. Is ideal clients are the types of clients that need everything that we offer. And the reality is not all of your major accounts, your big whales, need everything that you offer. So when it comes to growing your business, maybe, yeah, we'll take the whales, I guess. Sometimes if they're profitable, it reminds me of that quote, Javon, where it's like, we're not really making any money on this account, so we'll make it up in volume. Right.
Yeah. Like, what? Yeah. And the ideal client, the beautiful thing about ideal clients is they evangelize your service and products, right? Yes. They are your biggest fans. So they're as soon as you deliver for them, they're telling everyone else about them. So it's like, you know, word of mouth is the cheapest marketing, right? It's free. So the cost per acquisition for the next ideal client just lessens it. So I love ideal clients, and that's exactly who you want to target to, right?
Yeah, it's interesting as we're just thinking along that line here. The reality is I've been working with organizations since publishing Revenue Growth Engine 3 years ago. We've been in all kinds of companies, all different sizes, different vertical markets, and all of that. And one thing that I've discovered is ideal clients on average are worth between 10 to 30 times the amount of your average client in potential. Some industries, it's even higher than that. But that number in itself, the 10 to 30x, is kind of deceptive based on what you just said. The reality is your ideal clients hang out with other ideal prospects.
Yes.
So there may not just be 30x. If they refer 10 people to you over the next year, 10 years, let's say, now they're worth 300x because they're bringing in additional revenue. We know the best type of lead is a referral, warm, open. And that's why I'm passionate. I love ideal clients, Javon.
Yeah, me too. I mean, that's exactly who you should be speaking to in your messaging, right? Is that ideal client. And that's another reason why the ideal client is so important, right? Because you know exactly what their pain points are. You can speak to them. You can really talk about your solution from their lens, right? It just guides everything you do.
Yeah, and that's why before we get to myth number 2, I just want to let everybody know about the One Ideal Client Away Challenge. It's coming up next week. And what we're going to do in 4 focus sessions, and Javon's going to be there, we're going to have a great time, is we're going to get you clear and refocused on your ideal client. Who are they? What are their characteristics? How do we go get more of them? We're going to actually do a fun exercise on day 2 where we add up the 10-year potential value of the ideal client. That one's fun. You're going to have a good time that day. You're going to leave that meeting with a smile on your face. And then we're going to look at ways to actually build an engine to be able to attract and cross-sell more ideal clients. So put that on your calendar for next week. It's oneidealclientaway.com, oneidealclientaway.com. And if you'll use the code LinkedIn, just because you came here today, there's a special discount for you. We want to see you there. We want you to get focused on your ideal clients because we got to bust myth number 2. Ideal clients, Javon, ideal clients have a long sales cycle. We don't have time for that.
Oh man, we hear this all the time, especially in the B2B space. Oh, it takes a long time. Well, no, because again, they will need everything you're selling. So they're going to hit you at the low level. They're going to get the mid tier. They're going to get the high tier, right? So you just make a value ladder for wherever they are in their journey and they'll get quickly. They are usually buyers. They are usually decisive about what they need. They are clear on what they need. And I mean, there's no point in having a long sales cycle when you know, right? This is the solution. That's right. I want.
Yeah, you know, I was just thinking about last week, I had the opportunity to speak to a group of business owners in the technology space. And I started my career selling. They're really going to date me, Javon. I sold copy machines. And so the way that worked back in the day, and that was really kind of the only thing we had to sell them, right? And they were sold on 3 to 5 year leases. So the worst thing that could happen as a salesperson is you walk into someone's office, or you call them, and they go, "Man, Daryl, I'm so sorry. We just signed a lease last month. Can you call us in 5 years?" Right? And so you go back to the CRM, you're like, "Okay, in 4 years we'll call," or whatever. And that was brutal, right? That was really brutal. But the reality is, if you look at your business now in terms of ideal clients and they need everything that you offer, that means you've got multiple products and services that you can use as entry points into that account. And since we're going to go and attract, land and cross-sell to create that flywheel of growth, ideal clients actually, in a lot of ways, have a shorter sales cycle in that you've got an opportunity to, if they don't need this, maybe they need this, or maybe they need this, you can come up with an account strategy to get into that ideal client that gets you a foot in the door a lot faster than if you're just going after one product or service, whether that's a major account or whether that's, you know, one of your average accounts.
Absolutely. And you mentioned something about them getting in what they need, and they tell you what they need, right? Sometimes, you know, when we're providing a service, especially if we've been in for a while with this organization, they'll say, "Hey, do you do this?" Right? And it gives you another idea, another lens to look at, like, okay, I just realized there's a gap in my value ladder. I can add this. So there's a yes. Right. So now you can sell them even more on something else. So it's just really beneficial for both sides, right? It's really a win-win situation.
Well, and that's where, when you realize that buyers don't buy products and services, they buy the outcomes your products and services deliver. I can go in to that ideal prospect, and I can have a conversation about the outcomes that they're trying to achieve. And I can learn what that means to them. And I've got options in that account. And this is where ideal clients become very, very powerful. It's actually the opposite. We think they have a long sales cycle, but the reality is the sales cycle can be shorter. And even if the sales cycle feels a little bit long, it's worth it, because when you see the 10-year value of an ideal client being 10x, 20x, 30x, it's really eye-opening. And we're going to calculate that next week. So don't miss the One Ideal Client Away Challenge. We're going to have a lot of fun with that next week.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait to see that.
I know, I'm getting fired up. That is so much fun. So much fun. Before we get to myth number 3, though, Javon, I had the opportunity this year. It was an honor to be a part of. It is an honor because I'm still a part of the $1 Million Marketing Summit, which is online for free at the $1,000,000marketingsummit.com. It's scrolling across the bottom. Tell us about the $1 Million Marketing Summit.
Yeah, man. I had the privilege and honor to have you and 25 other speakers on covering marketing and sales. No fluff, all actionable items, actionable tips, passionate individuals who are experts in their craft. So go ahead. Like Daryl said, it's free. Get your ticket for the $1 Million Marketing Summit. Don't miss it. Don't miss it.
Yeah. Powerful. What a gift, dude. The way you put that together and the people that are in that. And thank you for inviting me. Because that was, I mean, what an incredible roster of thought leaders and ideas. You're going to get at least 25 ideas. And if each one of them is worth $1 million, it's $25 million marketing summit. So I think it should be, that one's
you
really
do that strong in the challenge. I mean, you're looking really good right now this year, huh?
Man. But this is what I love about the people that are listening in and watching later is we've got to continue to invest in ourselves, right? And this is what guys like Napoleon Hill found out in Think and Grow Rich, is that there's the people that are successful have an appetite to learn and grow. And you're here today, you're listening in, you have an appetite to grow, which is great. And you want to grow your business. One of the best ways to grow your business is to grow yourself. You can grow your business. So thank you for putting together the $1 Million Marketing Summit. And that brings us to, this one's fun. Myth number 3, drum roll, please. Ideal client. We can't do that. Javon, if I focus on ideal clients, my sales team's going to get unfocused and they'll be lost with ideal prospects. Wow. Let's just blow this myth up.
Yeah, I don't even understand how this is a thought process, to be honest, because it's like if your team has the ideal client at hand and they know exactly who they're going for and exactly what the problems and the solutions are, they become focused, not defocused. It's like the exact opposite of what this myth says.
And I think that it's really important that as sales leaders and company leaders, whether you're an entrepreneur, founder, or executive in an organization, this is my opinion. A lot of times I've seen sales leaders go to the sales team and go, tell me who your target accounts are. No, you tell your sales team who the target accounts are. And I love, this is one of my favorite things. If this is for my friends, especially my friends in B2B, but it also applies to B2C as well. And of course, if you're selling into government, if you know who your ideal client is, by the way, by the end of the One Ideal Client Away Challenge, you will know who your ideal client is. You'll have a refocused ideal client profile. If you know who your ideal client is, then you should know who your ideal prospects are, right? I mean, if my ideal client fits this profile, especially if I'm in B2B and my marketplace is Houston, Texas, my marketplace is the United States, whatever your marketplace is, you should know who your ideal prospects are. So in a lot of ways, you don't really even need leads. What you need, you already have your leads. They're your ideal prospects. They're the companies that you want to do business with. What you need is engagement. So get your sales team engaging with those people, create a target account program. We talk about it in Revenue Growth Engine, where we say, these are your leads. These are the people that you're going to call on. Can I sell to other people? Of course, you can sell to whomever you want. But 100% of the time, we will call on these people. and we will go in and we will get focused on the types of clients that are going to be the gift that keeps on giving. We don't just land them. We got ones that we can expand into. And so it's totally the opposite. When you're clear in your ideal client profile, you can focus your sales team and your marketing efforts on these ideal prospects.
Absolutely. And this makes me think of a client, man. I had a client, he's an insurance broker. And I'm like, who do you talk to? Who do you speak with when you go out and you're pitching your service? He's like, I just talk to everyone. Like, what? This is, you know how many hours and how much money you're going to
everyone?
Yeah, like everyone. He just speaks to everyone. It's a spray and pray approach that we see all the time, Daryl. And then we got really focused on who he was supposed to speak with. And he identified that it was really doctors, surgeons specifically, right? Cardiac surgeons, ortho surgeons that he wanted to get with for life insurance. So it's like when you get that specific, you know exactly where you need to be. You know exactly what they read, what publications. So your marketing dollars go a lot further. You're not wasting time on people who are never going to buy your stuff. You're not going to get marked as spam when someone's on your email list and they don't want to be there, right? So it's like it just saves you so much time, money, just resources all together to get your ideal client focused and know exactly everything you can about them.
Yeah, it gets your sales team focused. It gets your marketing efforts focused as well. And a revenue growth engine, we talk about, inbound marketing is great. I love inbound marketing. I'm happy when a fish swims by, nibbles on something that's on my website and we get a lead. Outbound marketing says, I already know who my leads are. These are the companies I want to engage with. Let's figure out how to do it. Absolutely. And sales as well. I can sell to anybody, but 100% of the time, we're going to call on these people. We're going to make relationships, build relationships with the decision makers and influencers in these accounts. And by the way, just going back to the long sales cycle thing, the beautiful thing about most ideal clients is they're probably not your smallest client. They're probably not your biggest client. They're somewhere just in between, right? They're right in that space where you're really comfortable. And they love working with you. They appreciate your advice. They're kind of folks that stick around. And our friends Brent Adamson and Matt Dixon from the Challenger Customer tell us that on average, this is 15 years ago research, there's 5.4 decision makers and influencers. It's actually more now. And what that means is I've got 5, 6, 7, 8 entry points into an ideal client account as well. I may not have that many entry points into a small account. And so this is what makes it attractive is I can focus my sales team and say, these are the people, the clients you're going to call on, the prospects, and here are the people that you're going to engage with. And we can be very specific about that, and it becomes measurable, et cetera. And this is where we actually get, like you're talking about, let's get the sales team and the marketing team focused. I remember in the old days, we used to drive your car down the road and get out of alignment. And you pull to the right, and then you pull to the left, right? And you just trying to drive to work, and the steering wheel is shaking and all of that. And so you bring it in, and they lift it up on the rack. And it's all computerized now, but in the old days, there used to be like a red dot right on the back wall of the shop. And they would point everything at that red dot, and it would all come into alignments. And then when you drove away, you could actually drive down the road and enjoy your trip. Unless you live in Houston, you're probably not very much. But, or Atlanta or anywhere that's a big city. But nonetheless, I digress. So we get alignment, and now everything comes into focus, and we can enjoy the drive, and we can actually drive a lot faster, which is fun as well, and not feel like the wheels are going to fall off or end up in the ditch. Same is true for your business. And that alignment point is your ideal client. And we look at that flywheel that we showed earlier, right there in the middle of your revenue growth engine is the ideal client. When you get focused on that, all of a sudden things start moving a lot more smoothly, and the revenue starts accelerating. That's why I get fired up about this stuff.
It's a great conversation. And I just want to make the point that, a lot of us think we know our ideal client. And you mentioned refresh. Well, some of us just need to identify it because we've lost it along the way. It's a great idea to just, do it, annually at very least. Like look at it, make sure that what aligns with your values and your business model.
Well, and that's exactly what we're doing next week is we really want to get refocused on the ideal client, because the idea behind that is to say your ideal client, it may shift over time. Your ideal client, their outcomes that they want may shift. Your products may have shifted, or you may just have lost focus. You may have just lost focus. It's easy to do in business. And that's why I think on a regular basis, we need to come back and reconnect and refocus ourselves and our efforts around that ideal client. That's what one of the main outcomes I'm hoping for next week is that everybody that participates in the One Ideal Client Away Challenge is going to get refocused, kind of like lifting your car up on that lift for a few minutes, and just really focusing in on saying, okay, what are we aiming towards that's going to allow us to accelerate the growth of our business? And that focus and that clarity, those clarifying moments are the moments that we can look back on and go, that was turning point.
No, 100%. And when you have a group, which makes it even better, when you have folks that are doing well, but they know they need that next step with their ideal client, and you're doing it all together, it really gives you a different perspective. And that benefit of, it's kind of like having a mastermind, right? You're getting all these folks who can share what their experiences have been, or maybe ask a question that you've been burning inside of you, but you just didn't know how to word it, right? It's just a great opportunity in this challenge to take your business to the next level in the years to come.
Absolutely. It looks like Chris Colt's going to be there. Hey, that's going to be fantastic. And Chris is also a guest on the Revenue Growth Podcast episode premiering tomorrow. So Chris, you're absolutely right. And this is a game changer. This is not just a little marketing exercise that we're going to do. This is a game changer, because when we focus things, that's when clarity happens and action can take place. When we're just scattered and we're, like your friends, like, who do we talk to? Anyone will take your call. Well, not a good strategy. That's a strategy for burnout, frustration, and wasting a lot of marketing money and results.
And your business failing after a while, because you're going to get, it's untenable. You can't market that way. And you don't have, I don't care how large your organization is, if you're just blowing money. We're seeing it now, right? These organizations had all this money, but now they're shrinking down. They're losing valuable folks. It's because they weren't focused, right? So it's like, we got to get focused. We got to make sure we know exactly who we're talking to, exactly who we need to connect with, and stop just doing the spray and pray approach. It doesn't work.
Yeah, it's just so interesting. I talk to so many business owners and speak to organizations where we've got peer groups of business owners. Love doing that. But behind the scenes, so many of them confide in me, and it's like, Daryl, we keep hitting this ceiling. It's like we break through, and then we can't seem to break through the ceiling. And you feel frustrated, kind of like your dog right now, right? And
he's frustrated. He's going through it, break through. Either that, or he's just like, man, it's an awesome conversation.
Yeah, he's so excited. He can't wait for the one.
He had to come downstairs and hear more about the One Ideal Client Away Challenge.
But that's where, if you're kind of keep hitting that ceiling in your business, and you look, the revenue's kind of flat or just flat line growth, this is what can bring the hockey stick in. And so we want you to join us next week for the One Ideal Client Away Challenge. If you have a team, you're welcome to bring your leadership team, your sales leader, your marketing leader. If you're a sales or marketing leader, bring your CEO, bring them in. Let's get some focus together on our ideal clients. Day one, you're going to build your ideal client profile. Day two, you're going to add up the 10-year value of your ideal client. Lots of fun. Don't miss that one. Day three, you're going to get clarity on how to build an engine to go forward. And all of it's at oneidealclientaway.com. Like you said earlier, we have a no fluff money back guarantee on this one. So there's no fluff. We're not going to waste your time. We're going to dive straight in. And even if you can't come live, go ahead and register anyways, because you're going to want these recordings to work through with your team or on your own, in the evenings. Either way, we'll be there to support you and guide you through this journey. So oneidealclientaway.com. When you register, use the code LinkedIn as a special thank you for watching this session. And wow, this has been fun, Javon. I knew this was going to be a great discussion, but anytime you and I hang out, we start pinging ideas off each other, and it's, the sum is the total is greater than the sum of its parts. If I say that right, it turned out good.
There you go. Yeah, man. We always have great energy, great synergy. So I look forward to the next time, Daryl. Thanks again for having me on, and to everyone watching, keep ascending.
That's right. And we'll see you next week at the One Ideal Client Away Challenge, oneidealclientaway.com. And as we say at the end of every revenue growth podcast, let's get going and let's get growing.
Yes, sir.